class. This morning I thought that I would pick up and talk about some things that seem to be prevalent on running on the internet, some things that have picked up from the Feast of Purim that comes from the story, or I guess you said it originates out of the story from Esther, when they celebrated the deliverance from what Haman had chosen, or had chosen to do, had wanted to do, tried to kill. He was doing things to try to establish a law that would wipe out the Jews. And we pick up the story in Esther chapter 5, where Esther is going to approach the king. Even though she was the queen, there were certain regulations that were still in place that for anybody that would approach the king, I guess when he was in session or wherever, in his courtroom or whatever, and if you didn't come when he didn't call for you, if he didn't extend the golden scepter, then it meant certain death. Some very strict rules, but anyway, after prayer, after her uncle Mordecai is coaching her, talking to her, it's interesting at this point in the story, Ahasuerus did not know that he was married to a Jew, or the queen was a Jew. And so the Jews were in danger. Haman, he's doing his very best to wipe them out. Whenever Ahasuerus had honored Haman at one point, Haman had a high position. He's going out. Mordecai was worked on the, I guess you could say, the guard, one of the guards or whatever. And as he's going out, Mordecai wouldn't pay homage or bow or do whatever that high-ranking officials deserved. He wouldn't do that to Haman at all, and that made Haman mad. He was mad. He goes home, he's talking to his wife. He said, man, I've been blessed. I've been elevated in the kingdom. As I've been elevated, he said, I even get to go to a banquet that the queen is having, just a king and me. And she's having this thing. He said, but you know what? The one thing that bothers me out of all of these things was Mordecai, the Jews. Mordecai, what he does, he doesn't acknowledge me, give me the proper recognition I feel I deserve, and so I want to wipe them out. And so he had some gallows built outside of his place, and then as he's on his way to go in on one particular day, Ahasuerus couldn't sleep that night before, so he couldn't sleep. He's reading some stuff and reads where Mordecai had done something and never got rewarded for it. And so here comes Haman, and he says, what would you do for the fellow that you wanted to honor? And so Haman, here he is thinking, well, it's for me. You know, this is for me. He said, well, I'd have him to ride on one of your horses, one of your main horses. I'd have put this on them, do this for them, have someone to lead them out, lead them through the city or whatever, and just really praise them up good, thinking all the time he's thinking, I'm looking forward to this, I'm looking forward to this. And the king turns to him and says, you do that very thing for Mordecai. Oh my goodness. You talk about something that would grind him, knowing that the guy that wouldn't acknowledge it, wouldn't salute him, I guess you could say. As soon as he gets in, you make sure he gets on all that garb, gets on my horse, and you do this for him. I would say that would be, if you looked up the word seething, I would say that's what was happening to Haman. He was seething. And so that goes on. So even now, even more, Haman is wanting to get the Jews, and the chief of those would be Mordecai. And so the time for the banquet is coming up. And through a series of meetings, she goes with them, with the king, or he goes with the king, and here's Esther. She's doing her thing, and he says, "What is it that you want?" And she said, "Well, just, I'm going tomorrow, if you'll bear with me, tomorrow." And so, and Haman thinking, well, I'm get to go through this thing twice. This is great. Comes in the next time, and she finally, I can see them sitting at the dinner table or wherever they're sitting, servants all around. "What is it?" And she says, "I need something done for not just me, but my people." And, what is it? That wicked man Haman is trying to have us killed. Holy cow. If he was eating a hot dog at that time, then I have a feeling it got choked. It didn't go all the way down. Or grape or whatever they was consuming. The king gets so mad, he storms out into the garden. Haman stays behind, and all of a sudden he's going to go beg for his life. King walks in. He had fallen on the couch where she was sitting and was begging, and he said, "You're going to assault her right here in my presence, right here in my house. I can't believe this." And so Haman gets his. The king offers a writing that goes out to all the provinces that he is over. 127, I believe it is, the scriptures say. And it talks about from India to somewhere, it gives the boundaries kind of, quite an extensive area. Anyway, and the people, the Jews that lived in those places, the edict that came to them is that they could defend themselves against anybody that was coming to try to kill them. And they just rejoicing all over the place. You would rejoice if some type of restriction or burden that you knew was upon you. You knew you'd be happy and would. We got to make a holiday here. Well, Purim in 2026, and this was Monday, March the 2nd. And it would end on nightfall on Tuesday, March 3rd. Unlike many holidays that follow the Gregorian calendar, Purim followed the Jewish lunar calendar. This ensures that Purim, which falls on the 14th day of the Hebrew month of Adar, aligns with the events that unfolded in the story of Esther. So all this time, they're having this all through the centuries. They've been celebrating this. The Jews have. The recent military actions against Iran in March 2026 have drawn numerous parallels to the story of Purim, the Jewish holiday that commemorates the salvation of the Jewish people in the ancient Persian Empire. The Purim story took place in Shushan, the capital of the ancient Persian Empire, which is located in modern-day Iran. Many Israelis and religious leaders see the current war as a modern iteration of the same struggle against a Persian enemy seeking their destruction. Haman, the antagonist of Purim, was a high-ranking Persian official who plotted to destroy, kill, and annihilate the Jews. Following the death of Iran's supreme leader Ali Khamenei in an Israeli airstrike on February 28, 2026, many pointed out the phonetic similarity between the names of Haman and Khamenei. Notice if you drop the K and the EI at the end, that's awful similar, isn't it? Both have been characterized by Israeli leadership as tyrants aiming for the destruction of the Jewish people. Kind of interesting, isn't it? Yes.
Oh,
Go back.
go back one screen. Go back one screen.
He did, he did,
Oh.
he did.
Oh, okay.
Thank
Sorry.
you.
Haman the bottle rocket. Beep.
Shabbat, Zakor, did you get that picture?
Got it.
You want it?
No,
we got
The
it.
airstrikes that killed Khomeini occurred on the Sabbath of Remembrance, the Saturday immediately preceding Purim. This day is dedicated to remembering Amalek, the biblical nation from which Haman is said to have descended.
Oh.
Haman's downfall. Some commentators noted that, according to tradition, Haman was hanged just days before the date that became Purim, mirroring the timing of the February 2026 strikes just before the holiday began on March 2nd. In his address at the start of the conflict, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu explicitly referenced the holiday, stating that 2,500 years ago, a tyrant rose in Persia to destroy the Jews and was taken down. He used the phrase, "the lot has fallen," referring to the pure or lot for which the holiday is named, to suggest that history was repeating itself in the modern day, or the modern Iranian regime would also fall. Interesting, isn't it?
Terrific.
I'd like to thank my wife for today's material. She was the one that pointed this out to me, and I had to go do the research and put some things together. A poignant modern parallel is the setting of the celebrations. Just as the Jews of Shushan were under a decree of death before their victory, Israelis celebrated Purim 2026 in bomb shelters and underground parking lots to hide from retaliatory Iranian missile strikes, reading the scroll of Esther while sirens sounded above.
You did good.
So as we take a look at how this, if we put it into a chart, if we see the Purim story and we follow down the location, Shushan and the villain, Haman, the goal of the enemy to annihilate the Jews, the hero figures is Mordecai and Esther, the outcome is Haman's downfall and Jewish victory. Then on the far right column, the feature is March 2026 conflict, the location, Iran, so to speak, Tehran, the villain, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, the goal of the enemy, death to Israel, nuclear threats. The hero figure is modern Israel and Jewish leadership. The outcome is Khamenei's death and regime instability. A lot of similarities there. I guess you could say history does repeat itself. Here's an interesting part, the political part that is connected to it. Donald Trump's status as the 47th president has become a focal point for those drawing parallels between the 2026 Iran conflict and the Purim story. Analysts, religious commentators, and even the president himself has highlighted the number 47 as a symbolic bridge between the ancient and the modern narratives. The specific factors connecting 47 to these parallels include the 47 years of enmity. In his recorded address following the February 2028 strikes, President Trump explicitly referenced 47 years of hostility between the U.S. and the Islamic Republic of Iran. This marks the duration from the 1979 Islamic Revolution, the fall of the Shah, and the current military intervention in 2026. The parallel, the commentators have noted that just as the Jews in the Purim story faced a specific period of decree under Persian rule before their salvation, the 47 years represents a completed cycle of conflict ending with the 47th president. Tanya and I were talking, and as we're looking at this and going through these facts, I thought, well, if Trump would have been president,
Ding.
he wouldn't have been president here to enact this, whatever. Not saying that God couldn't use somebody else in that. By the way, his State of the Union address was 1 hour and 47 minutes long.
Look. Close your mouth, Vanessa.
So strange. I was
Yeah.
thinking about Jimmy Carter crashing in helicopters, man. I was like, man, we've come a long way.
Yeah.
Right.
So we look at the aspect here, the modern context. Here, Donald Trump is the 47th president. Conflict duration is 47 years. His speech, 1 hour and 47 minutes. The exile of the Shah's family, obviously 47 years. The parallel symbolism that some are drawing to this. Notice, none of this is my work. This is stuff that I'm pulling off the internet. Seen as the designated leader for the end of the 47-year cycle. The conflict duration represents the end of the Haman-like era of the Islamic Republic. Speech timing viewed by some as a hidden sign or lot, pure lot, of the coming strikes. Exile duration mirrors the eventual turning of the tables in Purim. I brought it out because it's good reading. It generates a lot of correlations there. The Lord raises up leaders. He pulls down leaders. He sets and directs our steps. And he's watching over what's the apple of his eye, what's interesting to him, I would say. And what's interesting, as you can see, you have to acknowledge it. You can't ignore it. It's there. What would have happened if Trump wouldn't have been there? I hope that somebody else had a heart that would be willing to help stop all this. Now, the sad part of this is, obviously, is there's a lot of innocent people that get killed. A lot of innocent people. I've read some accounts that and I think I mentioned last week, a guy who been in the United States some 20-something years. He's Iranian, become a Christian, and he's talked about there's a revival that we don't hear about of Christianity spreading in Iran. Lots of people are being saved and coming to the knowledge of Christ. And so I do find it interesting many years ago that it's funny how the Lord has a way. He uses his people, and they all have a sense of humor. There was a hospital or something that was built over there, and the Israelis had the technology to help the Iranians. This is when they were getting along. This was obviously before 1975, or excuse me, 79. And when they built this hospital, the Israelis had put the Star of David on the top of the hospital, and the Iranians didn't know it. The Iranians, when they finally got some satellite technology, and they look down and they see that thing on top of that hospital, they go up there and tear that Star of David down that the Israelis had built as part of the structure. They tore it down. And so, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But anyway, there are innocent souls that are caught up in this conflict. There are people that are being affected, regardless of how you slice this. It's interesting to me that when we read the story of Esther, none of us have ever been in the palace of the king that I know of, on the king's staff, but yet we have had our times of deliverance. We've had our moments where we didn't think things were going to happen in our favor. It seemed like we were marked for destruction, or something was coming our way, and God delivered us. and God will continue to walk with us and deliver us. Now, the future, it's in His hands. Whatever happens is in His hands. Just when you think, God, what are you doing? Something happens, and you see His thumbprint all over it. So there we are. I'm at the end. Yes, Ron?
Several years ago, I heard David Jeremiah doing a series through Esther. He was talking about this story and how it bothered Haman that one little Jew wouldn't honor him. The whole rest of the country was honoring him according to the degree, but this one little guy just wouldn't bow down. He said, you can tell how big a person is in here by what bothers him. One little guy wouldn't bow down. He said, what bothers you?
What? Yeah.
And that got me just.
Yeah. You can get hung up on one small little aspect. In my reading this week, the one thing that stood out to me in Deuteronomy chapter 9, Moses is recalling what got them to where they were. And he gives the reason why he went up on the mountain for 40 days and 40 nights. He was praying for the children of Israel because God was getting ready to wipe them out. God was so upset with them. And so when and Moses was too, because you remember, he had gone down the mountain. They had this golden calf that they had built. Aaron had built. Aaron said he threw stuff in the fire and it spit it out. The fire spit it out. I guess he figured since we've been seeing some strange things, what's wrong with seeing a calf jump out of the fire? I don't know. But we see the compassion, the humility of a man who went up and pleaded with God for 40 days and 40 nights. And it gives the reason in Deuteronomy chapter 9. He tells them, and I kind of had forgotten that, read over it, just wasn't thinking about it, and I always thought, when he went up on the mountain for 40 days and 40 nights, what's going on? Well, first of all, he's looking for God to write with his finger again, I suppose, on those stones, because Moses had done that with them. But here he goes up because he cares, because he don't want them wiped out. And he's reminding God, of you brought them out, and he's pleading on their behalf. I pray that God protects the innocent that are the recipients of that are in the midst. Wars always affect those who are innocent. And you hate to see that. I don't want to see that. But yet wars are a fact that are going to occur. And we know that God knows that as well.
Just like when David brought the ark back the wrong way.
Mm.
He was doing the best he could with what he had, but he was in error. An innocent man trying to help.
Yeah.
Was struck dead, and David said, whoa, stop everything. We're going to figure this out, how to do it the right way. We're going to ask God how to do this. Uzzah was not a guilty man at all. But God's rule is God's rule. And when leaders do wrong things, innocent people die.
It was also noted on the internet that Trump was has a similar leadership style to Ahasuerus. That he was how is it? What did it say? Trying to think of the word that was used. It'll come to me later, probably this afternoon when I'm taking a nap. But anyhow, it will get there. Did you see that? I'll look it up.
I'm sorry, you had similar leadership style to who? with who?
Ahasuerus, the king in the story.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Any other one? Anyone have a comment? What?
I was curious about the correlation, the way you used it with the United States and Esther as mediators. Are we considered a mediator or an aggressor? I guess, I know there's negotiations going on. Was she considered a negotiator in that situation? And did her husband know that she was Jewish, or was that hidden? I guess I got a couple questions.
No, that's good. I know what you're asking. I'm tracking with you. Yeah. Well, we saw how it's played out, how Trump has tried to negotiate with them, and they didn't want to negotiate. Haman, there was no negotiating with Haman. It was going to be his way or no way, and that was total annihilation of the Jewish people. And so there's one Jewish, and I didn't bring up his points at all. There's this one Jewish writer that I read that he named several points where Esther was denying her nationality or her role as being a Jew. In fact, he don't even know you're a Jew. And so there's one Jewish writer who wrote several things that where she's had these things hid, and she was really not stepping up to the plate in some areas, and if it wasn't for Mordecai, she would have done some of the things she did do, but he held her feet to the fire, so to speak. But yeah, she followed the rule of the day, and God anointed her to follow the law, the rules of the day, for the good of her people. Now, I can imagine if she knew that if I walked into the king's chamber or whatever it was, wherever he was conducting business, and she wasn't supposed to be there, and she knew. So apparently, somebody had died that walked in there, or they knew enough not, this guy doesn't mince words. And so I can imagine the stress that and so to go in to negotiate, and sometimes we have to face some very tough negotiations.
Yeah.
But God gives us the strength
Right.
because we know it's the right thing to do.
Okay.
Now, did I get even anywhere remote?
Yeah, you did. And my mind is racing around too. The other thing is, on the media, when you see these missiles and rockets, I've never seen anything like these tracer things that are moving through the sky. Is that AI that's lying to me, or is that?
That's a good question. That's a very good question. Iran has been using all types of fake information,
Yeah.
flooding. I saw where somebody posted the other day that said the Iranian Navy was really out going before all the ships, and it showed two fellows in a rowboat doing like this, and a guy, a sheik, standing in the front with a slingshot. So they have really doctored some pictures, but their people have no internet access, from what I understand. And so they only see what they're giving them, the propaganda
Yeah.
that they're giving them. And so even in the United States, we have to be careful of what is propaganda and what's not. And so, when you're looking at the news, is this true? Am I getting both sides of the story? Am I getting the facts of the story?
It's hard
So
to know.
you have to become your own investigator, so to speak.
I was just curious. It was crazy.
This is our representative in the House that does a lot of research.
I can research this stuff.
Well,
I'm
is it, what
curious.
is it, Tanya? Answer his question.
Oh. I'm to the point now, I don't know that I believe anything that is coming across the media. I don't care
They
what,
say the Iron Dome's getting penetrated
right.
by these supersonic rockets. And that's supposed to be a new thing I heard them talking about in the Ukraine war.
Right.
And then I saw a video on X that was showing, it was crazy
Right.
speeds that these things were traveling at.
Right.
Yeah, and I think they have captured some of them, some that were actually that, but once again, what's real and what's not,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know?
In my old age, war grieves me greatly.
Mm-hmm.
And what you're saying this morning just burdens me to pray more.
Yeah.
I used to love to watch World War II movies when I was a kid, watch Westerns and all that sort of stuff, but now, like you said, the innocent dying and that sort of thing, and I've been praying a long time for our country, but war's hard. I hate it.
Yeah.
So it drives me to pray and ask for God's help.
Yeah.
It burdens me. Pardon?
Did anyone see Pete Hegseth praying in the briefing on the news? It was on the regular media as well, where they showed him reading from Psalm and praying.
Yeah.
There was a prayer of the cabinet, a picture of the cabinet praying before the State of the Union address. And I love seeing that. A lot of the cabinet members were gathered in a circle praying. So that was thrilling to see that for me.
The word I was trying to remember regarding impulsive is how they've connected one of the things that I didn't do this is what these people that are analyzing all this stuff are doing. His leadership style is considered to be impulsive at times. So I don't see the impulsiveness. I see a plan. For me, that's what I see. I think he's thinking, they're thinking they're right here. He's already way down here.
Yeah, yeah,
That's what it appears to be.
yeah. In his first term, I remember a single day that he was absolutely dumping the truck on the Democrats. Just, it seemed like he was almost a madman at the name calling and the almost irresponsible way he was acting towards some Democrats that were giving him a fit. But I think that was a ruse to keep them all stirred up and keep everybody's attention. And back here, he was signing one of the most important documents that was pro-religion in this country. Same day. He's fighting with these guys, and back here he's signing stuff. I don't think he's impulsive. I think he's just that good at keeping them
He's
busy.
strategic.
Well, the one thing about it is that he can be middle school playground talk at the drop of a hat. And,
Construction site man.
oh Lord, and I think he does it to bait his enemies. He really does. He's a lot smarter than people give him credit for, but I wish to the good Lord he wouldn't do that. But that's just my take. Anyway, let's transition on to our prayer requests, if we could.